positivity.
Oh boy.
I wish it was all gonna be positive in this video. Okay guys, so my team got to the comments of this video that we're gonna be talking about before I did, which is unusual. Normally I'm on top of these comments, but whatever I was doing that day, I wasn't on top of it. And one of my team members wrote me and was like, hey, how do you feel about a reaction video? Because the comments just got really intense on my wing clipping baby birds video topic. And it's funny because the views didn't go insane by any means, but the comments did. People were very, very passionate both ways about this topic. And so are
Passionate.
we. Yeah, and so are we. So I want to read some of the comments. I did not pick out the comments, so this is my first time hearing the comments. This is Dave's first time hearing the comments. I asked him to do this with me so I wouldn't be left all by myself on this.
Well, let's do it.
Super stoked about. I have no idea what kind of order these are in, but yeah, let's just see what you guys thought of the video, and I thought you would enjoy hearing our reactions to your reactions of my video. All right, first one is from Mikey the Macaw and friends. He says, why on earth would anyone buy an animal that flies, then take away their ability to fly for their own convenience? Lack of education and training blows my mind. For anyone...
This is why we restrained Capri to not allowing her to walk.
What?
It'd be the same logic. I'm gonna buy a kid and not let
You
it walk.
didn't even get through the first comment. For anyone that wants a pet that won't fly, please look into dogs, cats, or fish. Maybe not flying fish. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Mikey.
We love you guys.
Yeah.
We're on the same page with you.
Yeah, totally same page.
All right, Mikey,
All right,
we
next
like
one.
your comment.
That's a good one to start with.
Yeah. Bo says, some birds, especially small ones, budgies, conures, cocktails, etc., are capable of flight even when their wings are clipped. With clipped wings, they're more likely to crash and hurt themselves. So clipping doesn't always stop a bird from flying. It's not for the bird's quote-unquote safety. Which was the whole point of my video, exactly.
Yeah.
I actually thought this comment was going in a totally different direction. I thought that this person was gonna be like, oh, you know, the small birds recover really quickly from being clipped or something like that, but they didn't go there, and I thought that it was really legit to say that they are more likely to crash and hurt themselves if they're clipped because they're just not as capable.
I think the ones that I see the most injuries on are African greys. And like, not just physical, although that's there, but the emotional injury. Is like a clipped gray, they really suffer afterwards.
Yeah.
Whereas like a budgie can bounce back.
But Barry though, because I feel like she probably has forgotten what being clipped is like, even though she came to us that way. I feel like if she got clipped all of a sudden,
she'd be
I
devastated.
would just see her soul break. I would hate it.
And I think you see that in greys. Like greys, it affects them deeper than like Tango was clipped, Blue and Gold Macaw was clipped up until a year old. And like now he's a rock star flyer.
Yeah, he always had the will.
But other birds,
A gray would be more likely to get
yeah, the grays just kind of like, it just breaks their soul.
So Brad says, there's breeders online that advertise that they let their birds fledge before clipping them because they want to raise confident babies. When I read that, it seemed like that would do the exact opposite.
Oof. This hits me at a really good time where I'm kind of pissed off with a certain breeder who's like, oh, this is the problem? Oh, this is normal because of this, this, and this. I heard that same breeder on another speakerphone call 2 days later, giving the exact opposite approach, which brings me to my conclusion, not all breeders, but some breeders are full of it, and I think that that is a perfect example, like, oh, I let them fledge. Do you? Did they go fly off the cliffs in Moab and white sands in 30-mile-an-hour winds? Like, no, you didn't do it right. Like, I think it's a total BS excuse just to sell a bird. That's my reaction.
Holy crap. This is Dave's reaction video.
Yeah. No, but seriously, like, I've been on the call where the breeder didn't know I was on the call, but, like, they just totally BS their way through stuff. It was just to sell another dang bird.
Well, and it sounds good, right? To say like, oh yeah, I let them fledge. But you have to let them fledge for much longer than breeders let them fledge and then clip and then sell it to you. Like
our macaws are like 15 years old and they're still getting better at flying. Like, well, they're still fledging.
Comet especially. Love you, Comet. Sophia wrote, I am owned by 20 parrots and not one has ever been clipped.
Correct.
Woo! Awesome, Sophia. Tamara says, this is so important. Growing up, I had a bird who injured himself his first week flying into glass. It was heart-wrenching, but he made a full recovery and needed his full feathers even more after that to regain his confidence and as his body healed. We definitely bird-proofed the house after that, not the bird. He was a cockatiel named Fabio and the sweetest little guy in the world. Okay, that last sentence just totally resonated with me, that we bird-proofed our house. They didn't like change the bird, they changed what they could offer the bird. That is so cool.
The funny thing about this is like, so I just had a total recall of a memory for me as a kid where, so my parents had an indoor pool growing up. It was super cool. It didn't last my whole childhood, but while we had it, it was amazing. And so it became a tradition that on Christmas Eve, or excuse me, New Year's Eve, we'd go out, we'd roll in the snow, and then we'd come running back into the pool. Well, somebody had shut the screen door one of those times. And so I vividly remember rolling in the snow and then bouncing off the screen door. And it's like, okay, at that age, middle school age, like, okay, I can bounce back from that. And I think that's a similar thing with like baby birds, where it's like, yeah, you know, they're gonna make some mistakes. They might bounce off a glass or a screen door, but they'll bounce back and learn to check for the screen door after that.
Then there was that time in Bahamas where I ran into that glass window.
Oh, or Peggy. Love you, Peggy. We were taking her on a skydive in Moab, and she went to look in the window of this Cessna 182, and it was a
like
bubble window. She's like, oh, and a bonk! And just totally nails herself.
We all
but
do
she
it.
bounced back.
We all bounce back.
Just literally.
Tara wrote, some birds learn so fast and others do give me anxiety to watch learn, but I let them keep trying. I breed lovebirds and cockatiels and I never clip. Even my birds, I never clip. I love them flying to me to hang out.
Wait, did she say her lovebirds and her cockatiels she doesn't clip, but also her birds?
Like her own personal birds.
Okay.
I know, I thought about that for a second too. I was like, wait a minute.
Do you not classify those as birds? Because...
But the cool thing is, her last sentence where she says, I love them flying to me to hang out. Flight is a means of transportation for the birds, but it's also a way for them to communicate that they want to hang out. Communicate. That they want to hang out with you. And I think that's so cool. You know, a clipped bird's going to have a much harder time making his way over to you than a flighted bird who can just come say hello. And I think that it progresses your relationship because you understand each other. John says, my baby conure was clipped when I got him. I've done flight exercises with him since the first time I saw him fly off and 4 feet downward on his own. Happy to say his hatch day was last week and those clipped feathers are almost all dropped. Now he's flying 8 feet and at an incline. And so happy he is when I open his door and let him fly out and onto my bed in the next room on his own. He's growing up so fast. Aw. See, people are happy with flighted birds.
See, and this is, I'm going to give you a huge like reveal of some of the things we work with our free flight students.
How much you going to say?
No, it's huge, and it's walking recalls. So Pappy is a blue and gold macaw who was clipped and then imped, and the imped feathers broke, so he's still clipped, and he was clipped worse. Like a horrible story that's actually turning out to be amazing, because what happened is we did sessions where this bird would walk as a recall because he couldn't fly yet, but we still wanted to reinforce like what that behavior pattern was.
And you showed it a little bit with Sunny too. Like I published that video on the channel.
But Pappy, like for real now, is actually her vet. I told her to fire the vet after this, but like said that the bird was going to be too muscular and therefore like posed a risk. And I was like, your vet's an idiot. So this is the Dave video today.
Yeah, this is the Dave video.
This is like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of birds. It's not going to be okay. But it's great. Like he's fantastic.
People are mostly scared to do consults with me. I feel like after this, they're going to be scared to do consults with you. The nice one is feeling it today. Okay, Jacqueline said, thank you. I feel that clipping wings is the lazy way out. Yes! If you want a bird, then you should be willing to let it fly about your home. Oh my gosh, favorite quote of the day, the lazy way out. Hell yeah.
It is a lazy way out.
I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Fabiana wrote, what I think is that they lose the timing of flying till their wings are grown back after they come with clipped wings. It's so unfair. I see my flying budgies encouraging the others to fly, unaware that they can't. It's like cutting or tying a human baby so that he can just try walking later on. Ridiculous and super sad. That's like what you said at the beginning.
We always joke about like, oh, I don't want my kid to get hit by a car, so let's just cut her Achilles tendons. Like, how stupid would that be? You have a bird, let it fly.
All right. Alana wrote, when I got my Budgie as a baby, the first few times I let him out, he would take hours to get back in. He would land up in high places, like on top of the blinds and on the windowsills of high windows. He would crash into the walls and windows. Since he was only a fledgling and his flight skills weren't good, he wasn't very fast, so he didn't hit things hard, and so he didn't injure himself. He learned very quickly how to navigate, and I taught him what windows were. After the first couple of mistakes, he's never crashed since. And he always goes back to the cage when I need him to, and he never lands in those high up places anymore. It's easy to see why in the beginning people would freak out and clip their wings, but it's not necessary and it's so harmful. I totally agree with that. Like, if you can just get through the chaotic stage, it's smooth sailing after that. Like, it's so much easier. But I think people think that the chaotic stage is going to be the forever stage, and they freak out. And I think you worded it so well that people freak at that stage and think that they have to clip because it's not manageable.
And here's the lesson of life. We learn from making mistakes. If everybody gets a participation trophy, look what happens.
Oh my God.
Ta-da! But hey, realistically, like, we have to screw up. We have to lose. We have to fail. And that's what happens with, like, bird owners. They're afraid that the bird's going to get super injured because it can fly. We're like, yeah, you don't want to just set the bird loose in like a china shop, right? Like, you want this bird to be set up for success and have the ability to make mistakes without getting injured. Hence, our studio has fabric curtains 6 inches from the walls. We have yoga mats on the ground. So, like, anywhere that if a bird took flight, if it doesn't land on something else, it's going to have a soft landing and learn like, oh, that wasn't right, but didn't get injured. It's the same kind of thing. They have to be set up to fail. And this is probably the biggest thing I see on consults, especially in the free flight consults, is like we get to a point where I intentionally induce failure, and the failure isn't in the form of like getting injured, but it's like the bird didn't get rewarded for just showing up.
Oh my God. This video, I don't know, I feel like this video is gonna need a response video. Like, I don't think people have seen this side of you. It's
I'm passionately enthusiastic,
Holy
as Lauren
crap.
would say.
Yeah.
Or as I would say, Lauren.
Yeah. Oh man, okay. And we haven't even got to the negative ones yet.
Bring it
I'm
on!
so scared. I'm just gonna like walk away and be the narrator. All right, Amber said, I let my vet talk me into wing clip for my parrotlet. Now she's
Fire the vet. Total idiot.
Now she's barbering her flight feathers as I try to grow back. I hate myself for it.
Aw.
Oh, that one's like
I would just
dark
hate
and
your vet for it.
devastating.
And that's a challenge too, is like, we gripe about vets and breeders and trainers and all that all the time, just not usually on camera. But a lot of the time, breeders or vets in this case, like, that was a recommended thing 80 years ago when they graduated from school. So get with the times, vet.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, don't beat yourself up on it. What you can do is just look to improve it. And so there's ways that, like I mentioned, you can do walking recalls. Start with that. And you don't need to have a professional trainer to get your bird to walk across the ground and click and treat. That's a great way to start, like, entertaining and educating your bird through something that's physically active, and that's going to help deter from chewing feathers. Fire your vet.
All right, Dex wrote, I recently purchased a 3-month-old Congo African Grey, like CRESSI. When I first visited the bird prior to him being weaned, the breeder highly recommended that I allow him to clip his wings for his own safety. At the time of pickup, the breeder told me that he was such a good flyer that he had decided not to clip his wings, and it was up to me to keep or clip his wings. I decided to keep his wings, and boy, I'm happy I did. I truly feel that he would be a totally different bird. It's been fun watching him grow into himself, the confidence, his funny personality, the works. He is now 5 months old, and he's really a good flyer. He still has a lot to learn. He's now learning to maneuver corners, flying to different rooms in the house, and it's so cool watching him learn to hover to make those turns. I think I made the right decision. Jamieleigh, keep the great videos coming. You are the best.
And Dave?
Dave. And Dave.
It didn't say that.
All right, Dex, it didn't say that, but I know you meant to say it if you would have known Dave was in this video.
But hey, so Brad is one of our free flight students, and Brad was so used to getting reamed by you that all of a sudden I was like, Brad, what was that? And he looked, I actually still feel bad to this day because I was so blown away that my reaction was as enthusiastic as if you were yelling at him. And he was like, what? And his gray, Draco, flew and hovered like a helicopter in the wind in all different directions.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I've never seen a gray do that. Usually I see them needing a lot of speed for flight. And Draco, man, because he was never clipped, he possessed this thing. And even CRESSI's never done flight skills like that.
Never done that.
And CRESSI's a phenomenal flyer who's never been clipped. And Yeah, I think grays really take it the worst when they're clipped.
And I think you're dead on with saying that it would be a different bird if you had clipped.
Totally
different. Like Dave was saying, emotionally.
They break.
Yeah. It's sad. All right, Dark Wolf said, when we got our kikes, we never clipped them. Our female was very bad at first, but now she flies like a little fighter jet, 90-degree angles and rolls included. That's so cool. I think it's so awesome to celebrate what your bird's capable of in flight. Like they're capable of some amazing things, right? What are you about?
I'm just biting my words sometimes,
oh my gosh,
but yeah, I think they're awesome and they are more capable than most people realize.
Roxanne wrote, I hear this more and more. Quote, to stop biting, clip their wings. Quote.
From who?
Idiots.
Please.
Ill-informed people.
Please tell me who that is.
Don't do that.
Please do. Yeah. No, I had
It's probably on a forum. You know, people were just like, my cockatoo was dive above my head, and now he doesn't do it anymore because I clipped him.
Because I punched him and threw him at the window. Like, you idiots. But no, so I had a consult with somebody who hired a quote-unquote bird trainer, and it was in the Southern California area is all that I will say. It's not somebody whose name would be recognized by a YouTube search. So don't think it's any of our friends.
We wouldn't talk badly of friends.
No, but it's... and I wouldn't speak poorly of qualified trainers, which this guy was not. He literally would hit the bird if it misbehaved. And then he didn't like...
trainer?
Yeah, and then the trainer didn't like that this person had a good diet and said, no, they only eat seeds. And like, this is somebody who's charging significant money.
That's scary.
In San Diego.
Stop it, wherever you're going.
Their website looks like it was made on GeoCities in 1982.
Dave.
What?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to, I don't know about this video going out, man. Freaking me out.
Don't hire them. I mean, you can, but...
All roads lead back to BirdTricks.
You were recommended by BirdTricks? We heard you're a jerk.
Oh man. Okay, Fizzy Water wrote, agree 100%. Thanks for this video. I'd love to see another video about clipping, about how clipping doesn't keep them from escaping, or it's the, quote, best thing to do when starting to tame them. You've touched point on these topics in other videos, but they were about something else, so the message wasn't as strong as it is for this one. Oh, let me tell you, I think we're getting it across in this one.
I'm going to totally 180.
Okay, wait. Having dedicated videos would be awesome just to share with people. It's daunting to see the amount of people in forums saying this is the way to go and it's an opinion and people can do what they want with their birds considering how damaging it actually is.
Oy.
So I told you that. I bet that other stuff was from forum. Stay off the forums, guys.
I'm going to 180, and this is not where I think you should go, but I do see how, like, with Blueberry, getting Blueberry clipped from a pet shop, it was like a lot easier than a fully flighted budgie.
Then sugar?
Does that work with a macaw? I don't think so. I think that, like, the budgie from a pet shop is maybe this one scenario where it's like, I wouldn't encourage it, but it's like, we could work with this and it doesn't ruin the bird for life. But if you bought a clipped gray or like another clipped bird at that age, it's really hard to get them back.
Like, I thought sugar was relatively easy. People haven't seen all of Sugar's videos though, so there's that. But
there were some challenges.
There were some challenges.
But I can just say, like,
but
I hear that side of the argument. I don't agree with it as like the common practice, but having gone through that with Barry.
Well, I understand why people clip in a lot of the scenarios. I see the chaotic stage where the bird's just all over the place, all over you, all over things, getting into things it shouldn't be because our houses aren't bird proof. Like, I get the chaotic thing that makes people feel like they need to clip and like it is the immediate solution and answer.
Right.
But I think if people just freaking stuck with it, they would see the light at the end of the tunnel and realize it was worth it to hound through that process.
It's literally the toddler phase where your kid's getting into everything. It's like it sucks for a short period of time until you figure out how to adapt.
Yeah.
And then it's awesome.
And then it's awesome. So much better. So, yeah.
Mostly awesome.
Mostly awesome.
Sorry, Capri.
Love you so much. That's why we only had one. Okay, Ashley says, as a breeder myself, I don't believe in clipping my birds. My breeders and my babies are always kept flighted, and before I sell a baby, I ensure they are completely weaned onto pellets, introduce veggies and fruit, and I make sure they are well flighted to do recall training to help them learn to control. And when I sell, I always update the owners on the benefits of keeping them flighted, give details on training tips, and how to prevent the bird from getting hurt.
Did you put her website in that video link there?
No.
Wow, okay.
Actually, you should have.
Yeah, so Ashley, that sounds 98% amazing, and I love that. I like seeing breeders that take the effort and the initiative to legitimately do that and not just tell the person what they need to hear, but it sounds like you're doing it right, and I wish more breeders did that, because
it takes more effort and time, which is why a lot of them don't, because they just want to like get them out.
Or they'll wean them to a garbage food, and
because that takes less time and less effort. So I like that, Ashley, it sounds like you're doing it right. Elizabeth wrote and said, I have a unique situation. Took in a bird from a client who was on hospice and passed away recently. They had the bird for 30 years. It was a sun conure. I know he may not live much longer. Apparently they never let him fly, and they kept his wings clipped for the most part, except the last year or so when he was sick and his wife had passed. So now I don't know what to do. From what I've read, if they don't learn to fly while they are young and develop those muscles, they never will. So this guy likely will never fly, but I'm not sure if I should continue clipping wings to ensure safety. Not sure if he will struggle with balance, if his wings will always be clipped, or what would happen if he thinks he can fly because his wings grow out but just would hurt himself. I feel like the small birds do have an easier time figuring flight out than the medium to large. So I think a sun conure would probably bounce back. Obviously, this is possibly a 30-year-old sun conure, so that's pretty old. But I would get full blood work and like a full physical done from a qualified avian veterinarian and just say like, hey, how does his muscle mass look? How is his weight? How is his overall like body and physical everything, you know? And how does he look? And how is his health? How is his diet?
And P.S. sign this saying you won't clip him during the examination. I've seen that happen. Yeah,
and just say like, this is the bird's situation. Yeah. Does he look and feel his age, or does he seem young and good? And just tell your vet what you're thinking about doing, and I would go based off the information you get from that exam. Because I would think in a perfect world, you could have that bird let its wings grow out, because it's not like you just let the wings grow out and one day they're clipped, one day they have full flight. It's a slow process where they molt them out slowly. So it's not just going to be bam into full flight. It's going to be a gradual thing, which I think an older bird would be able to handle. He may not try though, because a bird that's been clipped its whole life usually just goes to not trying.
I'm going to add 3 things. The smaller the bird, the more likely it is that they're going to try to fly again. Second, I think if this bird has a clear health check from a qualified vet, it's probably going to have a better quality of life relearning how to fly. Most birds will self-regulate when they make mistakes. They realize like, oh, I shouldn't do quite that. I'm going to ease it up. So don't worry too much. Like, yeah, take precautions to make sure that your bird's set up for success. But don't panic too much in the sense of like, man, maybe this bird won't ever fly again. I think there's a big opportunity for it. And the final thing on that is that I've got a 14-year-old client with a 16 or 17-year-old macaw.
The macaw's older than the client. It's hilarious.
4 months ago, and I share this, trusting you guys.
It's YouTube.
I know, but she was doing things to encourage flight that we wouldn't recommend. And the conversation yesterday is I was like, look how far you've come in 4 months, because now this older bird is flying 20 feet across the room just by her going like this. And it's amazing, but she cringes watching that first video. And part of it too is like, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to get there. We're going to recommend the best ways to get there, but ultimately how she chose to get there, the bird seems to very much enjoy flight, even though it's an older bird. In a category of the larger birds, it's less likely to succeed.
Well, and I remember that first video too, because you're like, look how she's getting this bird to fly, and I was like, oh man, we gotta help her and give her some different techniques, and we have, and it's been phenomenal and amazing. So some older birds, like, they can bounce back.
I can't wait to share this story because it's awesome.
Yay, me too. Okay, well this video has gone really, really long, and I haven't even got to the like scary comments yet. So I'm gonna get more tea, and we're gonna continue this.
What?
Yeah, I'm only down to boba and ice. I need more tea.